Another day, another dollar. What's going on, man?
2 weeks in a row, we're back.
Dude, this consistency. It's unlike us to have this level of consistency.
It's because of the social distancing. There's nothing else to do, I'm telling you.
I know. I just go from one room to another, so I have all the time in the world right now.
Yeah, I just walk around the house. Sunday
Yeah.
nights, nothing else to do.
Hey, we do have a UFC fight coming up, though, May 9th. They
Yeah.
somehow got that put together, supposedly.
I actually do believe it because the governor of Florida is crazy. Sorry for all my Florida people, but
Is it DeSantis? Or who's
yes, it's
Yeah.
DeSantis. Yeah, he's crazy.
I don't know anything about him, really, to be honest with you.
Very Republican, but he, I guess him and Dana White came to an agreement. So
Yeah,
I'm sure
how
it'll
about
have no fans, but there will be fights. They're good fights too.
So there won't be any fans in the actual arena? It'll just be fighters?
It'll just be the fighters, and then like they can have limited corners, and then I guess the production crew.
I feel like you could still get some fans in there. Like, actually, I guess you probably couldn't because they would have to be 6 seats apart, and that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, that'd be, I don't know.
That's going to be a weird moment, though, dude, when they're fighting and
there's no noise.
There's no noise, there's no cheering, there's no booing, that's going to be bizarre. That makes you want to watch it more now.
I mean, I'll take sports. I mean, honestly.
It'll probably I was just going to say it'll make a lot of money because people are so, like, hungry for sports at this point.
Yeah. I think the NFL draft, like, broke, like, a viewing record. They had, like, 55 million watching.
Dang, that's insane.
Everyone's so starved.
Man, just by listening to the first couple minutes of this podcast, you'd think we're a sports podcast, not even.
No, yeah, let's talk about the news. Well, again, but nothing else is going on.
The virus. There's a couple things this week that took place that'll. This might be a shorter episode, but I mean, there's a couple things that happened this week.
Well, did you get your Lysol to inject?
That's one of the things we get to talk about. Yeah, I'll have fun with that. Speaking of injecting stuff, beer of the week.
Yeah, so again, not really finding any puns because it's kind of a weird time. I didn't want to make any virus puns with a beer.
I would expect that.
Maybe. Well, so I thought about a quarantini, but that would be liquor, and so that kind of strays.
Yeah, that's not beer of the week anymore.
Yeah, so then it's not. Yeah, but a quarantini would have been funny. But I got another local beer, a Golden Boy from Triple C. Yeah, it's a lager, so it's pretty good.
I feel pretty douchey liking Golden Boy beer, though. I don't know. There's something about that just doesn't make me feel good.
It's good. It's good.
I do like it, though. I got it at Food Lion like 8 months ago.
Yeah.
First time, and I like it. I like the can. I like the colors. I like the taste.
It's quality. Yeah. It's Miller Lite, but quality. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Well, we can debate about that later. But it is.
Yeah, it's I liked it though. I'll give it a props. You need to start sending me these beers of the week though, or something, because it's kind of annoying.
I'll tell you a day in advance. Yeah,
I'd appreciate a heads up or something. Yeah.
Well, next week is easy. I'll tell everyone in advance. Next week's will be the Sunday before Cinco de Mayo, so that'll certainly be like a Corona or something.
Oh, Corona.
So yeah, that would have been a good idea.
Do you think that would have been a great idea? Are you kidding me? How did we miss that opportunity?
Just a Corona every time.
Well, once again in Coronaville.
Yeah.
Why did they? I actually have never looked at this, and I don't know if you know this or not. But why did they change the name from coronavirus to COVID-19? I mean, what is that? The strain of the virus it is? Or?
I guess COVID-19 is the specific strain of coronavirus. So like with flu, there's flu's broad, and then there's strains of the flu. So coronavirus is broad, and then COVID-19 is a strain.
I feel like the Corona company, the beer company, had to have lobbied pretty hard to get the name changed.
I don't know. Maybe the opposite could be true, though. If people think Corona all the time.
Dude, no. What the hell are you talking about? You think of Corona is death. You're not going to go drink that?
I guess that's true. You do think of it as death, but I'll have one. Well, maybe I'm going to have to do Modelo next week or something now.
Dude, before we got quarantined and the world started ending, my coworkers at work were saying how the bar near their house, there was like 50 cents for like a bottle of Corona. Like they were so cheap.
No one buying. Interesting. All right, I'll go with Modelo.
Yeah. So nice beer of the week. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give you a solid 1. So we're rocking.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
Let the audience be the judge.
Yeah. Well, the 10 of them that listen.
Well,
sorry, my bad.
No.
We have thousands of viewers, guys. You're one
billions.
Many millions. Yeah, so this comment Trump made though about injecting the sun into your veins to make you a superhero or whatever he said. So did you actually listen to what he said?
Yeah, I did. And then when you listen, okay, it's stupid. When you listen to it, it's not as bad as when you just read it, but it's still pretty bad, I think.
Yeah.
But that's what he suggests.
I don't. So I to be honest,
sarcasm.
I haven't. Yeah, he said it was sarcasm.
Well, he tweeted. So he tweeted 2 hours ago. Does anybody get the meaning of a so-called Nobel (parentheses not Nobel) prizes, especially as it pertains to reporters and journalists? Noble is defined as having or showing fine personal qualities or high moral principles and ideals. Does sarcasm ever work?
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know what that means.
I was just going to say, you kind of lost me halfway through that, to be honest with you.
I was reading it. I don't know what it means.
I think he's trying to say he deserves a Nobel Prize for being sarcastic. Damn, that's a spin for me. Dude, Trump is by far, in my opinion, one of the best politicians that I have ever watched, and consistently able to pull off so many items. You're just like, oh my God, this guy will never, ever admit any fault in any area and just keeps pushing his agenda over and over and over in every area, no matter what. And you're just like, oh my gosh. It's an impressive sight.
It is. I'm just reading through his Twitter feed now. It's just terrible.
Dude, no one thinks he's being sarcastic, but he says he's being sarcastic, and then within 48 hours, half of his voters think he's being sarcastic now. He gets to rewrite whatever he wants to rewrite every time. It's so weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, to that end, I think we can discuss this certainly in some detail. I read an article, I think on Saturday, kind of detailing about the election in November and really kind of talking about how the Republicans are starting to fear they're going to lose the Senate.
I saw a little bit about that.
Yeah, because the election, it's just now Trump's just out there and Biden's just kind of, you're not really thinking about Biden too much. You're just kind of thinking it's just Trump out there.
Yeah.
And if the election's just a referendum on Trump and you don't really think about Joe Biden that much, then it's really a landslide, right? I mean, I know that probably won't be the case. But that's what they're afraid of because it's just Trump out there giving these crazy briefings.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I've kind of my intuition and my judgment when it comes to politics, I feel like is kind of skewed right now. I can see it going so many different ways because in my mind, I think a lot of his base probably thoroughly enjoys his press briefings and how he's roasting fake news and stroking his own ego every day. So I think a lot of people like that actually. I haven't followed any polling in any swing states for the Senate race, so it very well could be a lot of people aren't happy with certain senators, but then they turn out hard for Trump. To be honest with you, I don't know. I don't see it being bad news come November for the Republican Party personally, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's April, and Hillary Clinton was leading 4 years ago in April, right? Massively.
Yeah.
I think it all comes back to the presidential ticket. I think if Joe Biden wins the presidency, then the Senate, the Democrats will probably win the Senate and vice versa. But the Republicans are really getting outraised in their Senate races, which is the actual.
Oh, are they really?
Hope. Yeah. So
are they really? Wow. So Trump is blowing numbers out of the water himself when it comes to fundraising or people coming out to vote, but this Republican Senate is not. That's very interesting.
And they're incumbents too.
Do you think, though, that Trump can do a pretty, campaigning in those states to get a little bit more of a boost for them? Because I would feel if there's a high turnout for Trump, then there'll be a high turnout for those senators.
Yeah, that's the thing. So you can kind of let the top carry you a little bit. But I guess the biggest question really is if he can campaign. Can he have his rallies?
That's a good point. That's huge. He needs those rallies. He does a great job with that.
Yeah, he does. So he gets free coverage from that. And then he also, they get, anytime you go, you buy, quote unquote, a ticket. It's free, but you get a ticket. So then the party gets to collect your information. So they get your email address and your phone number. And then you can have candidates come out there and warm Trump up. You know what I mean? But that's a huge dynamic.
So what Senate? I would love to see a better breakdown. Is Lindsey Graham? Is he getting hurt in South Carolina? Because that's what I need to start following. I don't think he's going anytime soon.
I don't think he's going to lose. He's up for election. North Carolina is going to be a swing state. Colorado, Arizona.
But North Carolina, is it Tom Tillis or Richard Burr? Which one is up for reelection? Tillis? And he's a first-term candidate, right? Or it's his first re-election?
Yeah, it's his first re-election, so he's running against Cal Cunningham, I believe. And Tillis, I think they actually said he's raised the least amount of money amongst his incumbents, fellow incumbents. So maybe good news. But North Carolina's a swing state, sort of.
Yeah, damn. I'm very interested to see how it plays out. I mean, I personally have no expectation that Biden will beat Trump. The more and more I see what's happening, the more and more I'm like, oh, there's no way, because there's just no enthusiasm behind Biden. And have you been following the sexual assault from Tara Reid accusation against him and kind of some of the new developments?
Probably not as closely.
I mean, I haven't been a lot. I haven't been a lot because, honestly, I haven't been able to dig into news as much as I would like to lately because just with the baby and working, I've been working a lot of hours. So I've missed certain things I'd like to keep up with. But so the accusation is back in like 93, Tara Reid got sexually assaulted by then Senator Joe Biden in his, I think, in the office or like in one of the offices on Capitol Hill or somewhere. Like, this wasn't like at her home or on a date, this was like in a professional workplace. And she details kind of what the actual, assault consisted of. But the idea is she came forward with this a couple months ago, didn't really get any traction when it came out with almost anyone from what I can remember. But it's been building up with traction more and more. And she seems credible. But then there's always how do you establish credibility? And this last week, it's pretty interesting. There's a video of Larry King on CNN. Back in 93, he gets a phone call from a caller. It's just a 30-second, snippet video. But the person calling in is actually Tara Reid's mom. And the mom is asking Larry King, like, the topic is how do you keep, I think, politicians accountable if they, do unethical things? Like, what are you supposed to do? And so Tara Reid's mom calls into Larry King, is like, look, my daughter had to resign from a pretty well-known senator recently because she didn't want to drag his name through the mud, essentially. But, she tried to go different routes to have him held accountable, and no one listens to it. It all just gets put on the hush-hush, so she had to resign. And I was like, damn, like, that's pretty to me, that's pretty substantial. I'm not going to say it's sufficient, but it's pretty substantial evidence that the event actually did take place, So it's pretty crazy.
I mean, it's certainly, if nothing else, it gives credibility to her making the claim at the time she said it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So not just popping up.
Yes, exactly.
I think. Yeah, but weird. This is tough. Yeah, it's weird, but it's also weird because there's going to be portions on both sides that are going to draw attention to it and talk about it. But I think Trump as a candidate, I think that might be the one road he does not want to go down because he has similar history. So how effective?
Dude, I don't know.
Maybe he doesn't care.
No, maybe
it doesn't matter.
Man, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. This is kind of the magic of Donald Trump. I'm starting to realize there's this weird dynamic of no one really expects him to be this morally upstanding guy. So most people kind of give him a pass when you're talking about his base. But at the same token, they will praise him as this amazing, virtuous fighter for the good of, da 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 da. And so they have this weird ability to just kind of be like, well, I mean, he is what he is. He's a man. No one's perfect. Just locker room talk, blah, blah, blah. But then when they talk about him as if he's, the second coming of Jesus Christ, a lot of times it's like, it's the weirdest dynamic. So I don't think, he has like 25 sexual assault allegations, and most of which are probably pretty damn credible. But I don't think the Republican Party cares. They said they didn't care last time. So, but it will hurt the Democratic Party because the Democrats do care if their candidate has that, in my opinion. Not the voters care. The voters care more than Republican voters care, in my opinion. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, that certainly doesn't help Biden. Donald Trump Jr., probably our future president, tweeted Friday, Joe Biden isn't sheltering in place in his basement bunker because of the pandemic. He's hiding from Tara Reid.
Honestly, dude, but think about this. Look how bad Joe Biden is at just, doing simple things like talking. And it's like, He's going to be asked, well, what is about this accusation? He's about, well, I think it's really important to believe women, but oh, look at that train over there. That's a good train. But when kids touch my legs, man, it's just, makes me fuzzy inside. It's just like, how are they going to answer? I don't know what he's going to say. It's going to be bizarre. Yeah.
Poor kids are just as good as white kids. So this is the problem, though, in this system is that you get these two lesser of two evils choices.
Yeah.
I mean, politicians lie, right? And I guess you pick the one who you think's going to either, I guess, do the least amount of damage or
at a certain point, believe. Like, if the country says, no, we're never going to vote for someone that has a credible sexual assault allegation, we don't care what happens, then those people stop getting put out in the future. And so, like, there's got to be a certain point where, like, your principles outweigh political convenience. Like, there's got to be. I'm dying for the world in which people actually take stances on principles and not just, well, the stakes are too high to have principles. That way of thinking I understand there's some truth to that, but it really, really frustrates me because it feels like it's just a never-ending process for us.
Yes, but I guess you have to weigh the consequences because the cost to the Democratic Party, the cost to Joe Biden losing is Donald Trump as president for 4 more years.
Yeah.
So that is a calculation you have to make.
Yeah.
And maybe if the damage is done, you ride for 4 more years and hope the Democratic Party, gets the hint. That's. But again, what damage could happen in 4 more years?
Yeah. No, I mean it is bizarre. It is bizarre. I mean, you've heard about Kim Jong-un. You hear about that?
Is he dead?
So I don't know, but I've been thinking about that. I'm like, damn, if this guy's either dead or in a vegetative state or unable to lead, and it goes to his sister. I mean, do we have an instance where it's like Cersei and she's like psycho or Mad Queen and just goes, crazy, or do we have more of a diplomatic opportunity there with them? So how would Trump handle that if he has another term? Is something I was trying to think through. And man, that's a weird dynamic, man, because North Korea could screw up a lot of stuff if they just went rogue and decided to start launching stuff.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the sister's like. Was apparently, I guess South Korea said he's not dead, so I don't know.
I saw that.
I feel like this is like the second or third time where everyone's thought he's dead.
Yeah, you might be right, actually, because I feel like I remember reading this in the news several years back or something about how he's gone missing or something happened or,
Maybe they're just fucking with us.
Yeah,
F-bomb, sorry, but it's true. I mean, they do. I mean, there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, I don't know, but it is bizarre, man. I mean, I think a lot of Joe Biden's chance at beating Donald Trump comes down to who he chooses for his VP personally. And if he chooses someone that doesn't have a big name, I don't think that's going to help him. I think he has to choose Kamala Harris. I don't think Stacey Abrams would do the job personally. I don't think that's a big enough name for her to carry enough weight. I think it has to be Kamala Harris or Elizabeth Warren, one of them, or not Amy Klobuchar. I hope not.
I could see Warren, but you think like Biden covers the Klobuchar voters anyways, right? For the most part, 95% of them.
Yep.
Warren gives you Elizabeth Warren at least gives you a significant percent of the Bernie supporters, right? Not all of them, but I mean, the calculations are not going to make a difference. Yeah. So, but again, like I guess the variable is how the campaigns are run. If it's weird because we're so far out, but if it stays like this, where it's just Trump out there and Biden in his basement, that honestly gives Biden the best chance.
What is that the strategy you think? Like he just like keeps his mouth shut and lets Trump. I don't think you can let Trump knock off his own momentum because he just kind of does and says everything. So he's just a roller coaster of momentum, So it's up and down here and there, but yeah, it's going to go back up. So I don't know what Biden's and his team's strategy is other than just make sure he talks as little as possible.
But he doesn't like that. The Democratic Party does not want him to talk, but Biden personally, that's not his style. He's very extroverted.
Dude, if you look at some of his older stuff, he had a fire under him, man. He was a whippersnapper.
I mean, he was a senator for a long time. He's a good politician. He just decided, the Democratic Party decided to make him the presidential nominee when he's a million years old and can't talk.
Yeah.
God. Maybe I wonder if he would have beat Hillary 4 years ago if he ran.
I don't know, dude. We've talked about this before, and you read a book about it, about how like there's just so much hate whipped up for Hillary Clinton, just kind of not out of the blue, but pretty out of the blue. And the depth of the hate was pretty surprising in a way. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, man, Fox News can create any narrative around any person they want and affect millions and millions of voters in this country with that narrative that they're going to create. Like, it's bizarre to me. So I mean, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, or Goody Two-Shoe down the street, you can villainize anyone. I'm starting to realize, man. Like, it doesn't
happening
matter.
with Biden, right?
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are some credible criticisms against Biden, but no one's talking about the credible criticisms against Biden. It's just like, I mean, to be fair, the guy obviously has dementia, so I mean, it's not exactly hard.
Now.
Yeah. Dude, this is going to be a whack year. Can we just skip this year and move into next year? 2020.
Yeah. Can we get past the coronavirus? The other thing is what happens if the country reopens and then there's a second wave and the economy crashes even harder?
Dude, you have to just keep it open and let people die. I mean, honestly, it sounds terrible, but it's like, I don't know how much you can sustain as a country if you have to keep shutting down. I don't know. And how the hell did they get all this money? Like, they just printed like $3 trillion and it's over? Like, we're just okay now? Like, what?
Yeah, money's fake.
Like,
I mean, right?
I don't understand that. I really, like, that's a lot of money. Like, $3 trillion or however much it was. That's like a ton of money, man.
Yeah, just $1,200. And so today, like in California or this weekend, it was like really nice. And like, I think they said 40,000 people went to the beaches in California.
Yeah, I mean, you can't expect people to live cooped up forever. And especially if you don't have a job, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
So,
what are you gonna do?
I mean, I'm not on that libertarian, the government's being tyrannical cuckoo train right now, but I am on the human nature is not to be cooped up forever and we need money to pay our bills. So let's get some stuff going again, you know? Dude, I don't know, but if there's a second wave, I have no idea what'll happen.
Yeah, I don't think even Cuomo said it today. He said there's no way that, like, there's a sanity factor here for people. You can't just keep them cooped up. I think, and now going into the summer and it's getting hot, like, I don't want to sit inside all day.
Oh, God, no.
I don't think, I mean, the other thing is I was thinking about this today, kind of opening up the country. It's not just one solution for the whole country. It's by city.
Everyone has to do it a little differently, and I think it's going to be a combination of smart steps. Like, so in my opinion, hey, let's make sure grocery stores from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. are only available for people over the age of, 50 or so. Like, or hey, if you're, can work from home, companies need to make sure you work from home for the remainder of the year. Like, there needs to be smart steps taken, but honestly, it has to start opening up again in different phases. Like, it can't stay like this.
And I mean, restaurants, bars, I don't know about bars, those are pretty crowded. Restaurants, even dining people over the table. I don't know how you can have concerts or sporting events without testing, but something will have to give.
Dude, people are going to be willing to just die just to get back to just being able to socialize and get out there at a certain point. Like, I mean, it is, and the mortality rate's really not that high with a lot of groups of people. So, I don't know.
That's the thing, because I think it's 1% or 0.5%, but that's of the known cases. I mean, how many people know they have it and aren't getting tested because it's mild enough? People that don't have symptoms. So, I mean, that's the calculation. And the flip side is if things do open up gradually, there's going to be people who are just like, I'm not going out. I don't care. You know what I mean? So it's going to go – it's not like everything will go back to normal, but I don't know how they're going to do the election either.
Yeah, the election's another thing. It's like, how do you do voting? Because Trump's really against mail-in voting because of voter fraud.
I don't think that's –
dude, I don't know how you do that. Yeah. I've never looked into it personally, so I don't really have a huge position on it. But
I mean, you can vote absentee by mail – now. It's not hard. I guess
that's what he did.
Yeah, I know.
That was
a moron. But
that reporter.
Gosh, you can do it pretty easily. You can do it easily, and it's like, I guess I could see the argument on the surface level if you don't know about it. It's like, oh, you can just get someone's ballot in the mail out of their mailbox and vote for X.
Yeah. But who does that? And would that ever sway an election? I mean, we're not even a direct democracy where it's like each vote matters. Like in 80% of our states, your vote doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, you'd have to be pretty damn well coordinated for that to affect an election. I don't know.
It will affect, I mean, only the most dedicated would show up then, right? Then that probably leaves you Trump, I would think.
Yeah.
I don't want to go get a virus for Joe Biden to lose. Do you?
Well, that's what I was going to say. The enthusiasm level, like, dude, I'm telling you, man, like, I almost feel like the Republican turnout would be higher just despite the coronavirus hoax that it is, and by hoax I'm being sarcastic, but
I know.
like they would just be like, nah, we don't believe in any of this. Screw the tyrannical government for making us stay home. Screw all you guys. We're going to show out in big numbers. And he has like 70 million people turn out. And then Joe Biden, half his supporters like, F that. I believe this stuff. I'm staying home. He has like 10 people show up, So
And then,
man.
I don't know. Have you met or have you interacted with anyone that's enthusiastic about Joe Biden?
No, no, not at all. Absolutely no one. But to be fair, 80% of my friends and family are Republican. The 20% that are not, out of that group of people, are either apolitical, meaning they don't really have a lot of strong stances, or they're just kind of like over Trump and want someone to beat him. I don't have a lot of people in my life who are very ideologically like hardcore, passionate Democrats in general. So that could just be my circle of friends.
No, and I think the thing is, even with Hillary, I think there was excitement, like actual excitement.
President.
Woman, yeah. With Biden, I think the Democrats are just like, again, so frightened. It's like, okay, this guy is the least offendable, right, or least offending.
Yeah.
Put him up. He's experienced, etc.
He's the most boring candidate, so he'll give us the most shot at making this work. And I mean, to be fair, I do kind of get people are tired of the chaotic feeling within the world right now, and Joe Biden being kind of someone that's been around for a while just offers a stabilizing feeling at the very least. And so I kind of get that idea from people. If you're not following politics pretty hard, but Joe Biden makes you feel that way because he's been around for a while, I actually am sympathetic to that. I don't think that, but I'm sympathetic to understanding that. So who knows, man? But that's not enthusiasm.
No. I mean, obviously if he was the president, things would be more stable. I don't think you could argue that.
Yeah.
But again, he's not the president. You have to make a choice to vote for him, and all these things we're talking about. Like, I'm going to hold my nose and do it. But that's the thing. This is 4 years ago. You got to learn as a political party from your mistakes. And I guess there's somewhere along the line they either didn't or they felt that they could just do the same thing again. I don't. That's what I don't understand.
I don't think they think. I don't think the Democratic Party thinks they lost. Honestly, I don't think they think they lost. I think they genuinely believe they won the popular vote, so obviously they got the will of the people behind them. The Russia interfering in the election really swayed a lot of stuff, and the other part that got swayed was just because there's a bunch of racist, sexist Americans out there, and they can't do anything about that basket of deplorables in the first place, And so like, they're not good at like self-analyzing. I'm starting, and I'm not saying the Republican Party is, because honestly, I don't think they care enough to self-analyze, but the Democratic Party,
I mean, they're winning.
Yeah, they're winning. I mean, what do you self-analyze,
Yeah.
It is bizarre, man.
But they won the House with that strategy. That's the thing. That's why it's weird, because it's like, okay, we lose the presidency, but we clean up in the House using kind of the moderate centrist thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why that is. But it wasn't that big of a win in the House. I mean, not comparatively to previous presidents. I mean, Obama had a way worse loss in the House.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I think I don't know George Bush what the midterms were for him, actually. He might have been okay because of the war.
I think it swung. I think 2006, when he was a lame duck, I think Democrats had everything. And then Obama came in, and they had the House and the Senate and the presidency, and they got Obamacare out of that. And and here we are. I know, that was a long time ago.
Is that when Nancy Pelosi became the Speaker of the House in 2006?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, God. Dude,
that had to be it. It was a Bush wave.
She rubs me so wrong. I really don't like Nancy Pelosi. And I've never followed her, but just the way she handles herself and does things, I'm like, what do you believe in? What do you do? You just always seem to be like annoyed and scolding. I've never seen you say, this is what I stand for and I'll fight for. It's always, well, this is what I stand against, or this is what I'm annoyed about, or all the, just whine is what it comes across as. And I'm like, man, I wonder how I would like to see how she was before Trump. Maybe I'm just seeing a weird side of her because of Trump, and he brings a weird side out in everyone. So I don't know, but she definitely is not someone that I've ever like listened to and been like, oh yeah, she has a good point there.
Oh yeah, she's more than anything, she's the political leader of the party, I would say.
She became the first. She's the first female Speaker of the House. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think so. That seems right. And then it was her, and then John Boehner. Then the Republicans got rid of him, and they got Paul Ryan, and then she came back.
Interesting. See, I need to really brush up more on like the last 20 years of political history, because honestly, I don't.
It's bad.
BAD. Yeah.
I mean, yes, slowly just getting more polarized and hating each other.
Dude, when was it good though? Like, when was there like a president that most people got behind? Because, dude, even looking into like, did you watch Bobby Kennedy for President on Netflix? There's like a 4-episode special.
I know what it is. I didn't watch it.
It's interesting, dude. So I always knew for a very long time that Nixon, his first presidential run, he won like almost every state, right? And that's all you see is kind of the highlight, like how much he performed. So you're like, damn, the people were really, really behind him. Like, that's crazy. It's kind of like your implication, I guess. And then I started watching this Bobby Kennedy for president. I'm like, well, no wonder the Democratic Party was in a complete chaotic mess because, JFK had been assassinated, MLK had been assassinated, Bobby Kennedy got assassinated. You had all these Democratic kind of leaders, up and coming people that were just getting picked off. And then I think the incumbent Democratic president said he doesn't want to run for re-election like halfway through. And so you don't ever get to hear like the detailed part of history. You just get the footnote summaries. And so it's very interesting to kind of dig more into stuff.
Yeah. So the parties were, even before, it happened right around Kennedy, but before Kennedy becomes president, the parties were like split. And there was like the Republicans, and then there was the Democrats. And then within the Democrats were the Dixiecrats, which were the Southern Democrats. And they were they agreed on like economic issues, but they were a little racist. And so, yeah, a little bit. So eventually they align with the Republicans, and Kennedy wins. And then there's Lyndon Johnson, who Kennedy and Johnson are kind of the modern Democrats, where that starts with their like economic stuff. There was Vietnam, pretty bad. And then Nixon, and then you get Reagan as the first modern Republican, right? And then then you get Bush. So it kind of like gets us to where we are. And I think Trump's the ultimate symptom of that, or outcome of polarization. And but the Democrats are polarized too. And you get that in Bernie Sanders.
For sure.
It's partisanship.
But definitely a different strain. Yeah.
Which is why when you run, I would say Trump's a very, I guess, far right. I don't know. That doesn't feel exactly right on how to describe him, but close to that.
Here's my thing about Trump. Trump is pretty standard Republican, actually, when it comes to most policies. When you just strip the personality, just go for the policy. A lot of what he did is very Bush Reagan-esque. Like, I mean, it's not super crazy. Now, I'm not talking about like randomly assassinating the freaking leader of Iran. Like, that's different category, although that might not be that far off from like Ronald Reagan and some of the stuff he did as well. So, but personality wise, he is so far, like, he's just always chaotic. And I think that's what makes people feel like he's such a different type of politician, is because of his personality. But policy wise, he's pretty status quo when it comes to Republicans and what they care for, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I would argue what Republicans care for is pretty far right. I mean, at least for me.
Oh, that's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
but I think you get Obama, and then the backlash is Trump to 8 years. Even though the Democratic Party under Obama deteriorated, he's still the president, which carries a significant weight. So then you get to Trump, and you have a candidate like Bernie Sanders and even Elizabeth Warren, very, very progressive.
That's true. That's very true.
And then, they nominate Joe Biden.
Well, even Obama, what he said if I were running my campaign in today's day and age, I would run it very differently than I did back then.
Yeah.
Because the times have changed. And I'm like, that kind of pisses me off, because I'm like, so wait, you don't have principles you're going to be willing to fight for regardless of what the political winds are. You're going to shift how you're going to run your stuff depending on the way the political winds are blowing at that time. And I might be putting it in a bad light, more so than I should be, but Bernie's been saying the same stuff for years and years and years because he thinks that's what's right. He wouldn't have run his campaign different 10 years ago than he did now. And so there's like an aspect of me that's just like, I'm tired of I understand it's necessary, but I'm just tired of the lack of consistent principles and the constant game of politics that you have to bend and shape your morals to fit within in order to win. I mean, it's just very tiring.
And I mean, everything you said is right, but I guess that's what gets people so fed up with politics. But you have to play the game to win. And I'd say the difference, I agree with Bernie. I totally have voted for him. But Obama won the presidency twice and Bernie lost it twice, lost the race twice. So you know what I mean? Like, you got to you got to get there somehow. But Bernie, I mean, it's a shame it took so long for his ideas to become popular. And now, I mean, I don't know he can't run for president again, obviously. But someone's going to have to take that torch, and hopefully that person has a shot, because that's almost the argument is for just tanking Joe Biden is you actually going to change 4 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know a change in what area or what direction, but there is going to be something that happens, I guess. You won't have as much as the bad. I don't know if you'll move towards good, but you'll stop a lot of the bad. So I guess that in and of itself is going towards good in a way. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting time.
Trump's winning. Can I make a prediction that he wins? Would you agree with that? Or
that's bold, man. I don't know. That's ballsy. I definitely say he'll win as it stands now, unless something crazy happens. Which even if something crazy does happen, it probably will benefit Trump in the long run anyway somehow. So
probably will. But imagine this. Imagine like we open up and like there isn't a second wave and things kind of start to straighten up by the fall. He's totally winning then.
Oh yeah. I already heard their slogan, which I think is pretty good. There's this MSNBC political commentator I follow on Twitter that, sometimes he has good stuff, sometimes he doesn't, but he was mocking this. But one of their kind of shticks that they're running with, the Republican, I forget who she is. I think she's the new press secretary, maybe. I don't know. She's not the campaign manager. No. I don't know. She's one of the people that like determines the direction of the messaging within Donald Trump's campaign, for re-election.
That sounds like a fun job.
Yeah. But the thing she was saying was like, look, he did it once, got the economy roaring. He can do it again. Just trust him to do it again. He already built his resume within the first term to get the economy up and roaring. So yeah, just vote him back in and he'll do the exact same thing and get us right back to where we were. What do you have to lose? And I'm like, that's going to work with people.
You're kind of right.
Message. Yeah. This was getting mocked by like a lot of people on Twitter that are liberals. And I'm like, you guys don't understand people, man. You don't understand that a simple message, like, did you see Joe Biden's like 3-minute ad where it's like silent for the first minute and a half and he's just like, hope, mercy, kindness. That's who we are. That's what we are. Let's go. Let's get ice cream.
Because that worked for Obama 10 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work.
Different times. No, it's not. And here's the other thing. This is a great message. He could do it again. And even though he totally like botched the handling of this, we'd probably still be in the exact same spot anyways. You'd still have to shut down and stop the economy.
Oh, yeah.
Even if he got it right.
Exactly. Yeah, you would have less deaths and maybe you might have not had to shut down so drastically for so long like you have. Like, I to be honest, I haven't studied the origins, but I don't know. I'm not like one of those guys that's like hate Trump at all costs. No matter what he does, it's always wrong. It's always the worst decision. It's always, always, always. I'm like, hey, this is a pretty new virus. No one really knew how to react. There was some intel that, we should have reacted sooner, but I'm sure there was some intel that might have contradicted that and said, hey, we could probably treat this pretty quickly. Or, hey, we're being lied to out of China. There's not a lot of ways we can, gauge that sometimes. We have to, do the best with what you know. So I kind of cut leaders slack when it comes to dealing with something that happens once every 100 years because it is kind of hard to know what to deal with. But I'm all for criticizing Trump for like, hey, he cut the budget and the head of the pandemic operation group a couple years ago. That seems, like that was a stupid thing to do because it's bound to happen. So I'll criticize that type of stuff all day. But how to handle an out of the blue virus that just pops up and what to do best, that's just a hard place to make decisions in my opinion.
Yeah, it would have been stressful for any president. And not to defend Trump, but like the state shut down anyways. They weren't listening to him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He knew it was a pandemic before everyone else, obviously.
Yeah.
It's those things like that when he says it's going to be fine, and then 2 months later he says he saw it before anyone else.
Yeah, Trump is a straight up liar. He just wants to figure out how to position the message that makes him look good, because at first it was, oh, there's 5 people but it'll be 0, then it's, I'm a wartime president and this is an invisible enemy, then it's, oh wait, actually this isn't as bad as the flu even, and then it was like, oh, this is drastically da da da, and you're just like, dude, like pick a lane and stick to it, like, but I mean that's the thing, he gets away with it. I've talked to many people that are Trump supporters that it's like he can flip on a dime and people do not care. They don't care. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Yeah. Him flipping doesn't. I mean, it's us like, aha, he's an idiot, he's a liar, which he is.
Yeah.
But it's not going to affect him.
It doesn't matter. It won't affect him at all. There's not one person out there who, oh, I shouldn't make this claim, but in my opinion, the majority of his supporters, there's almost nothing Trump could do to cost them his vote, cost their vote for him rather, because he just knows how to spin things, and they're just willing to go with the narrative every time he spins it. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter. No,
and that leads us to his reelection, most likely.
It does. What I'm dying to see, and by dying I mean literally, I'm probably going to die as I see it, is what this brand of Republican is going to be after Trump. Like, who's going to run after Trump? Like, are they going to stick with that, Donald Trump energy, or are they going to be more like Ted Cruz, where they're like trying to be more of a statesmanship while they're like, squirmy? So I don't. It's going to be weird to see what the Republican Party does.
He's going to be like, no, I'm just going to stay.
I mean, the only thing, he is old. He is old enough at this point where he can only do that maybe 1 or 2 more terms.
That's true. It'll be Don Jr. I mean, come on.
It will be. Out of all the children, Don Jr. or Jared Kushner, man, that guy's kind of weird too.
He doesn't have the personality.
Yeah, no, he's a behind the scenes guy. I don't know what his credibility is. Have you seen that video
when they were at, like, that's the credibility.
Well, yeah, and he's married to Ivanka. But like Ivanka's talking to like the world leaders. This was like 5 months ago. They're like at some type of summit or something. I forget which one it would have been. But it was back in like October. And you have like the Prime Minister of Canada, Prime Minister of UK. You had all these like world leaders. And then Ivanka's there and she's like talking to them about, it just seems so awkward how she was like talking like as if she was one of them about topics and stuff. And you're just looking and they're just kind of cringing a little bit. And you're just like, this is just bizarre, man. This is such a weird sight. Like, what credibility or qualifications does Ivanka have to be sitting there doing this? It just seemed kind of weird, man.
Yeah, but it's just like the thing that scares me, I guess, most is like the dynasty of the Trump family.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want that.
Weird. Nah, I'm done with that. I hate so much of the energy and qualities and what the type of stuff that Donald Trump has pushed so far into our political discourse nowadays. I hate so much of it. It's the most ignorant, arrogant, spin everything, take no responsibility, be immature. Like, I hate that world so much. I cannot stand that. Even if I supported his policies and like could get behind a lot of his policy stuff, the type of like damage on the moral fabric that he's done is so inexcusable to me. I can't stand it, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like his policies, again, like pretty mainstream, but just the character and I guess the attacks on institutions in the country.
Yeah, he just has no regard for stuff. It doesn't matter. Whatever he wants is the right way, period. Yeah, it's crazy, man. But yeah, I don't know if anything else happened this week. I don't want to say it's a calm week. It's just 90% of every week seems to be the coronavirus now, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is coronavirus. A couple Trump things. The Lysol was the headline. I think there started to be a little light at the end of the tunnel for me, but we'll see. Things are very variable.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't have too much more to say.
We've covered it all.
I think that's it. What we need to start doing is seeing what topics people might be actually interested in hearing, like, and then actually like talking about specific topics during the podcast a little bit. Not the whole episode, but like maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
I'm telling you. Mailbag. Yeah. Send the questions in.
Stay tuned. We need to have a format. We got to make it easy for people.
We shall.
We'll figure it out.
It'll take a couple months.
That's all I got, man. Yeah. 45 minutes roughly. That's not bad.
I think that's good. That's good content.
That's good.
We'll spit it out.
Yeah. All right.
Monday evening.
Depends on how my
maybe Wednesday.
No, I will have this up tomorrow for sure.
Well, we're holding you to it.
All right, next week though, beer of the week needs to be better, and give me a hint.
It's gonna be Corona.
Spoiler alert, dude! You have to. Damn.
Cinco de Drinko.